ASMR SleepyPasta. This is part 2 of Been Drowned. Let's get right into it. Out of curiosity, I looked at the save file. Eyeballing it, I could tell he was pretty far in the game. He had almost all the masks, and 3/4 remained of the bosses. I noticed that he used an owl statue to save his game. He was on day 3, and by the Stone Tower Temple, with hardly an hour left before the moon would crash. I remember thinking that it was such a shame he had come so close to beating the game, but he never finished it. I made a new file named Link out of tradition, and started the game ready to relive my childhood. For such a shady-looking game cartridge, I was impressed at how smoothly it ran, literally like a retail copy of the game, save for minor hiccups here and there. Like textures being where they shouldn't be, random flashes of cutscenes at odd intervals, but nothing too bad. However, the only thing that was a little unnerving was that at times NPCs would call me Link, and at other times they would call me Ben. I figured it was just a bug, a fluke in the programming causing our files to get mixed up or something. It did kind of creep me out though after a little while, and it was around after I had beaten the Woodfall Temple that I regrettably went into the save files and deleted Ben. I had intended to preserve the file out of respect to the game's original owner. It's not like I needed 2 save files anyway. Hoping that it would solve the problem. It did, and it didn't. Now NPCs wouldn't call me anything. Where my name should be in dialogue, it was just a blank space. My save file name was still called Link though. Frustrated and with homework to do, I put the game down for a day. I started playing the game again last night, getting the lens of truth and working my way towards completing the Snowhead Temple. Now, some of you more hardcore Majora's Mask players know about the 4th day glitch. For those who don't, you can Google it, but the gist is that right at as the clock is about to hit 000000 on the final day, you talk to the astronomer and look through the telescope. If you time it right, the countdown disappears and you essentially have another day to finish whatever you were doing. Deciding to do the glitch and try to finish the Snowhead Temple, I happened to get it right on the first try, and the time counter at the bottom disappeared. However, when I pressed B to exit the telescope, instead of being greeted by the astronomer, I found myself in the Majora boss fight room at the end of the game. The trippy boxed-in arena. Staring at the Skull Kid hovering above me. There was no sound, just him floating in the air above me, and the background music, which was regular from the area but still creepy. Immediately my palms began to sweat. This was definitely not normal. Skull Kid never appeared here. I tried moving around the arena, and no matter where I went, Skull Kid would always be facing me, looking at me, not saying anything. Nothing would happen though, and this kept up for around 60 seconds. I thought the game had bugged or something, but I was beginning to doubt that very much. I was about to reach for the reset button when text appeared on my screen. You're not sure why, but you apparently had a reservation. I instantly recognized that text. You get that message when you get the room key from Anji at the Stockpot Inn. But why was it playing here? I refused to entertain the notion that it was almost as if the game was trying to communicate with me. I started to navigate the room again, testing to see if it was some kind of trigger that enabled me to interact with something here. Then I realized how stupid I was. To even think that someone could reprogram the game like this was absurd. Sure enough, 15 seconds later another message appeared on screen, and again like the first one, it was already a pre-existing phrase. Go to the lair of the temple's boss, yes or no. I paused for a second, contemplating what I should press, and how the game would react. When I realized that I couldn't select no, taking a deep breath, I pressed yes, and the screen faded to white, with the words, Dawn of a New Day, with the subtext, LLLLLLLLL beneath it. Where I was ported to filled me with the most intense sense of dread and impending fear I had never experienced. The only way I could describe the way I felt here this sense of inexplicable depression on a profound scale. I am normally not a depressed person, but the way I felt here was a feeling that I never knew existed. It was such a twisted, powerful presence that seemed to wash over me. I appeared in some Twilight Zone version of Clocktown. I walked out of the Clocktown Tower, as you normally do when you start from day one, only to find that the inhabitants were gone. Usually with the fourth day glitch, you can still find the guards and the dog that runs around outside the tower. This time they were all gone. What replaced them was the ominous feeling there was something out there, in the same area as me, and it was watching me. I had 4 hearts to my name and the hero's bow, but at this point, I wasn't even considered for my avatar. I felt that I was personally in some kind of danger. Perhaps the most chilling thing was the music. It was the Song of Healing, ripped straight from the game itself, but played in reverse. The music would get louder, building up, so as if you should expect something to pop out of you, but nothing ever did, and the constant loop began to wear on my mental state. Every now and then, I would hear the faint laugh of the happy mask salesman in the background, just quiet enough so that I wasn't sure if I was hearing things, but just loud enough to keep me determined to find him. I looked in all 4 zones of the Clocktown, only to find nothing, no one. Textures were missing. West Clocktown had me walking on air. The entire area felt broken, hopelessly broken. As the reverse Song of Healing repeated for what must have been the 50th time, I just remember standing in the middle of South Clocktown, realizing I had never felt so alone in a video game before. As I walked through the ghost town, I don't know whether it was the combination of the out-of-place textures in the atmosphere and the haunting melody of the once peaceful and soothing song being butchered and distorted, but I was literally on the verge of tears, and I had no idea why. I hardly ever cry. Something had gripped me here, and this powerful sense of depression that was both foreign and crippling. I tried leaving Clocktown, but every time I attempted to zone out, the screen would fade to black, and I would just zone into another part of Clocktown. I tried playing my ocarina. I wanted to escape, and I did not want to be here. But every time I played the Song of Time or Song of Soaring, it would only say, "Your notes echo far, but nothing happens." By this point, it was obvious the game did not want me to leave, but I had no idea why it was keeping me here. I didn't want to go inside the buildings. I felt it would be too vulnerable there, or whatever I was terrified of. I don't know why, but I came up with the idea that maybe if I drowned myself in the laundry pool, I could spawn somewhere else and leave this place. As I zoned in and ran towards the pool, that's when it happened. Link grabbed his head, and the screen flashed for a brief moment of the happy mask salesman smiling at me. Not Link, me. With the Skull Kid scream playing in the background, and when the screen returned, I was staring at Link's statue for playing the song of Elegy of Emptiness. I screamed as the thing just stared back at me with this haunting facial expression. I turned around and ran out back into the South Clocktown. And to my horror, the fucking statue followed me in the only way I can compare this to the weeping angels from Doctor Who. Every so often, at random intervals, the animation would play of the statue appearing behind me. It was like the thing was chasing me, or I didn't even want to fucking say it, haunting me. By this point, I was on the verge of hysterics, but not even once did the thought of turning off the console occur to me. I don't know why, I was so wrapped up in it, the terror felt all so real. I tried to shake the statue, but it would literally appear right behind me every single time. Link started to begin to make weird animations I had never ever even seen him do before. He would flail his arms around or spasm randomly, and the screen would cut to the happy masked salesman smiling again for a brief moment before I was face to face again with that fucking statue. I ended up running back to the Swordmaster's dojo and ran to the back. I don't know why, but in my panic, I just wanted some kind of assurance that I was not alone here. To my dismay, I found no one. But as I turned to leave, the statue fucking cornered me in the cubby in the back. I tried attacking the statue with my sword, but to no avail. Confused and backed into a corner, I suddenly stared at the statue, waiting for it to kill me. The screen flashed again to the Happy Mask salesman, and Link turned to face my screen, standing upright, mirroring the statue, looking at me along with his copy, literally staring at me. Whatever was left of the fourth wall was completely shattered while I ran to the dojo terrified. Suddenly, the game warped me to an underground tunnel, and the reverse song of healing queued up again as I was given a brief moment of rest before the statue started appearing behind me again, this time aggressively. I could only take a few steps before it would summon behind me again. I hurriedly made my way out of the tunnel and appeared in a southern clock town. As I ran aimlessly in a sheer panic, suddenly a re-dead screamed, and the screen faded to black as Dawn of a New Day and L appeared again. Okay, I think that'll end off episode 2. And I hope you enjoyed. I'm sorry if it sounded rushed or hurried. I just don't know really, truly what format or kind of what would be the best to read this in. So if you have any suggestions or comments, I would love to hear them. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you